Hello everyone and welcome back to our series on direct and indirect objects. Today we're going to talk about indirect objects with and without to. So let's get started. There are many verbs that require the preposition to before the indirect object. Let's take the example of the verb to explain. Take a look at this sentence. Explain to them the problem. What is the direct object in this sentence? Correct, the problem. The direct object goes directly after the verb. What is the indirect object in this sentence? Correct, them. We use the preposition to indicate that them is the receiver of the explanation, or the indirect object. The full structure runs subject pronoun plus verb plus to plus indirect object plus direct object. Or you can swap the indirect and direct object to make explain the problem to them. You cannot omit the to, however. Explain them the problem is not correct and bad English. This is a very common mistake. Let's take another example. Suggest a restaurant to her. What is the direct object here? Correct, the restaurant. And the indirect object? Right, her. Suggest her a restaurant is incorrect. You need the to indicate that her is the receiver of the suggestion. Verbs that follow this pattern include to explain, to omit, to propose, to suggest, to deny, to offer, to describe, to take, to conclude, to swear, to recommend, and to present. A list of all these verbs can be found in the lesson notes below. Here are some more examples. The criminal denied the crime to the police. Take the book to the teacher. I swear to you, it's the truth. We will present the idea to my boss. Describe the picture to me. Can you recommend a good film to them? Other verbs with to before the indirect object include to complain, to say, to speak, and to talk. These all use about for the direct object. For example, he complained to them about the exam. The next set of verbs follow the pattern object plus infinitive. These follow the structure subject plus verb plus object plus infinitive. For example, I want them to go to the supermarket. What is the direct object here? Correct, them. What is the indirect object? Correct, the supermarket. However, an indirect object is not necessary in this sentence. Verbs that follow this structure include to want, to need, to advise, to invite, to convince, to remind, to ask, to dare, to beg, to persuade, to allow, to encourage, to cause, to challenge, to force, to make, as in to force, to help, to teach, and to tell. You can again find a list of all these verbs in the lesson notes. Here are some more examples. Tell them to come to the party. I challenge you to run 10 kilometers. Can you help him to fix the car? I encourage my students to study a little every day. The doctor advised him to eat more healthily. Okay, now here are our final set of verbs. The final set use either to plus the indirect object or no preposition at all. Language is always evolving. For this reason, some of the verbs which require to before the direct object can actually be restructured so that they don't need the to. For example, the sentence, "Give the pen to me," can be restructured to say, "Give me the pen." What is the direct object here? Right, the pen in both cases. What is the indirect object? Correct, me in both cases. Another example, pass him the book and pass the book to him. What is the direct object? Right, the book in both cases. What is the indirect object? Correct, him in both cases. So why has this happened? Well, language changes over time. The truly correct way to say these sentences is with to. For example, read the book to him. However, over time, people are starting to omit the to and change the word order. They do this because it's easier. And so now you can say, read him the book. Verbs that work this way include to give, to lend, to pass, to post, to read, to sell, to show, to send, to bring, and to offer. More examples. Can you lend me your mobile? Or can you lend your mobile to me? I will sell the car to my cousin. Or I will sell my cousin the car. Finally, we have to let. To let means to allow and carries the structure let plus pronoun or noun plus infinitive, no to. There's one thing to remember about let, and that is you must, and I mean must, have an infinitive after the noun or object pronoun. For example, let me have the pen. Let me the pen is incorrect and bad English. Here are some more examples. Let them buy their own food, or let her take the dog for a walk. And so that's it. That's all you have to remember about to let. There must be another verb in infinitive after the pronoun or noun. So that concludes our direct and indirect objects course. Lists of all the verbs that use these different structures can be found in the lesson notes, and I encourage you to memorize them. If you need any clarification, don't worry. You can recap on all of these lessons in the lesson notes below and test yourself with the quiz. Thanks for taking the time to learn the hard stuff, and see you next time.